Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Wrestling Talks and Thoughts. I am your man, Tahim the Dream.
And it's your boy, J McMahon, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that.
You can teach that, in fact, absolutely. So, we about to get into some news and rumors real quick. Guys, we got some talk for you. So yes, news and rumors. Vince McMahon, the first news and rumor, Vince McMahon is apparently giving up on one particular superstar. So I read about this. So I don't know if you guys know, it's kind of obvious if you guys have been watching the draft. But I don't know if you guys noticed, but Jay, so have you noticed the guy who has not been drafted out of everybody else?
Yeah, it was a couple that wasn't drafted.
All right, so name. I'm gonna give you like 3 chances. Name 3 people, real quick.
Shorty G, Ivar,
Okay.
And Jimmy Uso.
Jimmy Uso. Cool. Anthony Cobbs, thank you for joining us, Anthony.
What's going on,
in the house. James Presley is in the house. What's up, James?
All right, James.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining the conversation. So the person, right, that has not been drafted, well, you named a few people, but this person in particular is Andrade C. Almas.
Oh,
Andrade.
Wait, he wasn't drafted?
Andrade wasn't drafted. Nope.
Wow.
So, all right. So, according to Dave Meltzer, it says McMahon is not a fan of Andrade, and his push is mostly over. Andrade Andrade was seen as a Heyman project, and once Heyman left the show, Andrade push came to an end. McMahon was said to never see the star power in Andrade, which Heyman saw during Andrade's time in Japan and Mexico. There is no word on what will happen to Andrade, who is now missing about a month due to an elective surgery.
That's crazy. Because yeah, and you know what's funny? Yeah, because I remember Angel Garza was drafted to Raw, Zelina Vegas drafted to SmackDown, and then he ended up losing to Angel Garza on Raw, and then that's when he got attacked by the Fiend. But I really didn't really pay attention to him not being drafted. Let me check this out.
Yeah, apparently Andrade is Vince. He got the Vince axe. Anthony Cobb says, "Yeah, this is what I was waiting for." Who did Vince give up on? James Presley said, "I spoke it." Anthony Cobb says, "Oh, the guy who always fails his drug test." James Presley says, "I don't know if you remember when I said the New Day was going to be over." That's true. James did speak it. He did say the New Day was coming to an end. We had that conversation a while ago. He did call it. I didn't want to see it, but it's happening. Anthony Cobb says, "Yeah, Vince has dementia." Anthony Cobb says he should go back to NXT. He should. I mean, he should. I just hate when. I mean, I feel like when wrestlers go back to NXT, it should be for a purpose of reboot or a purpose to, I guess, bring them back to the main roster. But it's, I don't know. They shouldn't be doing this back and forth NXT thing. But I guess at this point, right now, with the lack of care that Vince is giving some of the superstars on Raw and SmackDown, sometimes it's like, all right, well, maybe they do need to go back to NXT to get the proper care that they need, right?
Yeah, I honestly feel that I now here's what's interesting about it. So we all know how WWE typically try to keep couples together. And as we all know, Charlotte is engaged, I want to say, to Andrade. Now Charlotte is staying on Raw. So now are they going to keep Andrade on Raw due to Charlotte being on Raw, or are they going to send him to SmackDown and pair him back with Zelina Vega? Now, I was also reading the fact that they're not really going hard about this whole couples thing is because they're all performing at the same arena in the same town as of right now. So right now it doesn't really affect anything, but once they go back to live shows and then that's when it's gonna have a big deal. But we'll wait and see, because I'm reading right now it's Andrade and Mickie James are the still undrafted superstars, but they're free agents, so they can sign with any show that they choose.
Okay, that's good. That's a good thing. This is a hot topic, so let's get into it because it seems that comment section is being brought up. Anthony Cobb says the New Day split is only going to be for 6 months. I'm calling it out now. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into this topic with the New Day.
I say a year.
You say a year?
Yeah, because the next draft is in a year. So I mean, unless it's some kind of crazy trade, but I think they're gonna keep them split on separate shows for a year to give Biggie a year to get pushed to see what he can do, and by next draft they'll be back together.
Yeah, I think they're gonna see how far they push Biggie, how far it goes. I think it can work. I was seeing a little lagging in his was without the New Day, but that's just my opinion. But I know that we all know, like, if Vince wants to push him to the moon, he's gonna push him to the moon.
Absolutely.
All right. So according to Dave Meltzer in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, the idea behind the decision was to get Big E out of the comedic mode and make him a more serious competitor and give him a singles push in the process. Meltzer noted that talk of pushing Big E as a single star had started several weeks leading up to the WWE draft. The Observer also noted while Big E, Daniel Bryan, and Jey Uso are expected to be main singles baby faces on SmackDown going forward, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Lars Sullivan, and King Corbin will be the biggest heels. The report also said that Otis and Kevin Owens will be pushed as single babyface acts. So James Presley says, I say Big E is going to turn on them. He's calling it out. I don't think Big E, you know what? When I was watching SmackDown yesterday, I was saying to myself, I was like, this would be the perfect time for Big E to just clothesline Xavier Woods, clothesline Kofi Kingston, put one of them in a big ending, and then just walk out the ring. But I was like, nah, they want their chapter of New Day to end exactly how it started. So I don't think Big E's going to turn on any of them. I think he may have a singles match against maybe Xavier Woods and Kofi, possibly in the near future. But I think they're going to really try to really push Big E as far as they can. Anthony Cobb says, what's going to be big push for him is he's going to face Drew at WrestleMania next year. Is he going to win this year's Royal Rumble? So that's interesting. The winner of the Royal Rumble. Who would be the winner of this year's Royal Rumble? See, my thing is this. When I look at it like this, if Drew McIntyre loses his belt against Randy Orton,
which he should.
I mean, I see somebody like maybe them trying to put Keith Lee over. But my hope would be, I would want Big E to win the Royal Rumble. I would want Big E to win the Royal Rumble. I would want Big E to go on to challenge Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? James Presley says they are trying to make Big E a champ. I really hope so. I really want him to be a champ. Anthony Cobb says, I heard he's going to have a more serious image now, like the old Big E when he was aligned alongside AJ and Dolph Ziggler. Yeah.
Yeah, he needs that. And like you said with the article, it makes sense. Because when he's with New Day, they're joking, they're laughing, they're gyrating, and things like that. But yeah, so in order for some people, for us to as they say, the WWE universe to take him serious, he has to be in a more serious role. He has to, be less Braun Strowman, and we'll get to how weak they're making Braun look right now. But but yeah, he has to be more serious and he has to be believable. And if he's joking around, throwing pancakes and laughing, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, this comedic guy. So he has a look, he has a physique. So yeah, he has to be more serious for us to be like, all right, yo, Big E is something serious.
That's true. He was NXT champion. He's a former NXT champ. Actually, and you guys remember, like before he even joined the New Day, that's what they were trying to do. They were really trying to push Big E for the main event. They were really trying to make him a big player initially, right? And then the whole USA gimmick didn't work when he came out sounding like a preacher. But then when he did it with the New Day, it worked. You know what I'm saying? So and then he had his little feud with Rusev where he got demolished, which was a waste of a feud. You know what I'm saying? When they could have just stuck with pushing Big E if they were going to fire Rusev, in the future in hindsight. But, Jose Velasquez, thank you, Jose, for joining us. He says he was getting a push before he joined the New Day. Yep, he was definitely getting that push. James Presley says, and I hope they don't make Big E fight these weak, no-name guys. Well, this is the thing, James. It's like he has to fight the weak guys because they got to make him look strong. They got to build up his strength. They got to build up the seriousness of his character, show that he's a serious competitor. Because if they just don't throw him in a big feud with like Randy Orton or like
we forget he's on SmackDown. We got to remember. So he has he has like a Cesaro, a Shinsuke one-on-one matches. Shorty G. Those kind of guys. I honestly feel what would be perfect for Big E right now if he had a babyface version of Paul Heyman, someone who just to talk for him, and he just has that look and that physique, just stand there.
I think if he did that, it'd be overkill. I mean, because Big E's already good on the mic. He's fun. As a matter of fact, Big E has a lot of like great. He says a lot of funny things on the mic.
Right.
Anthony Cobb says, I think a feud with him and Seth would work, but I don't know if this Mysterio and Rollins chapter would ever end. Oh my God.
I wish it would just die down. Like I wish we wake up one morning and they just all forgive each other, or they just forget each other exists. Because that was my main purpose of the draft. I wanted the draft to split them on different brands,
right?
So therefore, that feud could be split up. But it seems like they just took the feud from Raw to SmackDown, and then the SmackDown feud they just took to Raw. I'm just like, oh my goodness, like why?
They was like, oh, you thought it was over, huh? Yeah. Hit us with the remix. He was like, oh, you think it's over now? This is the remix. This is the remix.
Like, yeah, and we forgot Murphy. Yeah, you going over there too? Yeah, I'm like, oh my god.
Oh god, like
isn't Aaliyah still on Raw? She wasn't in the draft.
Who?
Aaliyah, just right. Dominic went over, so Aaliyah should still be on. Nah, I'm just
God, man, and the craziest thing is like I know, they got like a team of writers. They got like 6, 7, 8 guys that sit around a big old table and with a head writer, and they conceptualize the script. So I'm like, yo, you mean to tell me y'all could not think of any way to end this stupid feud? I mean, this has been going on forever, man. Like, let this go already. Like, please, man, please.
Yeah, it's way too long.
So James definitely agrees. Like, yes, this needs to end. This is like probably I'm gonna tell you right now, this freaking Seth Rollins Rey Mysterio feud is by far like one of the worst feuds ever. This is just as bad as when Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio was feuding over Dominic in the early 2000s. It's like, what? They fighting over custody of a child.
They had his birth certificate at the top of a ladder.
At the top of a ladder. Oh, you said no, not a WWE contract, not a title, a birth certificate. Jeez.
Yeah, the custody of Dominic. I'm like, bro.
James Presley says, and Eva's coming back. Yeah, Eva's coming back.
Yeah,
Sean Keys, my guy, Sean.
what's going on, bro?
Sean Keys. What's up, Sean? So what else we got? And they need to definitely, just let go of this daggone feud.
Now a feud with the Ray and Seth, how they kind of hinted that will be interesting.
Ray Mysterio and Seth Rollins.
Not Ray. I'm sorry. It's, Daniel Bryan and Seth.
Oh yeah. That would be good. That would definitely be good. I mean, I would like to see that. I'm just really waiting to see, like what they do with Seth Rollins' character when he feuds with other people. That's what I'm more excited about. I want to see how his feud goes. But they tease it on Friday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, they've gotten a little scuffle. So I think that's what they're gonna do. I think that's kind of how they're gonna try to sever the ties with Rey Mysterio and his son with Seth, and just have Seth, go into a feud with Daniel. That would be exciting.
Now the interesting thing is he just going by the Messiah, the Friday Night Messiah, the WWE Messiah, or because he can't be the Monday Night Messiah anymore because he works on Fridays now.
I think he called himself the Messiah.
Just the Messiah, okay.
Yeah, just the Messiah, just Messiah for now on. If Alistair is still on SmackDown, that would be a good dues for Big E. That's true. They need to really work more on. Alistair's been pushed into obscurity for recent months. Like they haven't been doing nothing good with his character. But I think in our last few podcasts that we did, last few shows we did, we talked about how once Paul Heyman got taken out of that creative position, a lot of people who were getting those good pushes, who deserved it, were taken out of that creative cycle of really having those great feuds because they were all Paul Heyman's projects, and Paul Heyman had a lot to do with the reason why they were getting those spots the way they were getting those spots. So being that Paul Heyman's out, it makes we just talked Andrade. Reason why Andrade's not getting the push that he's getting, he's getting now is because Paul Heyman ain't there. Because Paul Heyman sees the development talent in him and sees that he can, do whatever. And now he's not getting it because Vince apparently has nothing creative for Andrade. I don't know why, but I like Andrade more than I like Angel Gaza personally. Some more news. The future of the Usos. It's Uso time. Uso crazy. So the future of what happened?
What up, Us?
Uso crazy, baby. What up, Us? Uso. All right. So it says the future of the Usos. With Jimmy Uso out with a torn ACL and Jey Uso battling on SmackDown as a single star, there has been some speculation on the future of the Usos. Also, with Naomi being drafted to Monday Night Raw, there were rumors that her husband Jimmy Uso would also head over to the Red brand. However, Dave Meltzer noted on the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter that the plan is to keep the Usos together after Jimmy returns from injury. According to Meltzer, having couples on different brands isn't viewed as a big deal as it once was, since talents are working only one day a week since the start of COVID-19 pandemic. However, that could change in the future, even if WWE never reverts to a 4-show-a-week schedule. Jimmy Uso recently said that he was targeting a return in the ring in January or February of 2021. Since Jimmy went undrafted during 2020's WWE draft, he remains a free agent and can choose his brand when he returns from injury. Okay. So I thought that this was gonna actually go over into a singles push for Jey. But Jose Vasquez says they're going to join Roman and turn heel. Jose, I hope so, because that would be that would be horrible if they don't take advantage of the heel turn. But I'm gonna tell you this: SmackDown. I don't know if you guys seen SmackDown, but on SmackDown, at the end of SmackDown, I'm just gonna go into it because I know like we usually review SmackDown and NXT, but I'll just go into it because I feel like this is just like a good spot. On SmackDown, when Roman Reigns was face to face with Jey Uso in the ring, and Roman Reigns wanted Jey to beat Braun Strowman with the chair. Jey wound up chest chopping him and super kicking him, and then beating Roman with the chair until he got, grabbed up by the officials. I think what's going to happen is that they're going to do the same. They're going to play that same scenario out, and it's going to be somebody that's either going to come and save Jey or somebody that that I don't know how the situation's going. Maybe somebody's going to try to save Jey, or Roman's going to be in a match with somebody. Jey's going to come into the ring. Roman's going to give Jey that chair, and then the next time Jey's going to hit that other person, and he's going to turn heel. But I definitely see them joining. It makes no sense for them not to join Roman. It makes no sense for them not to actually pair up with Roman. It would be perfect, be picture perfect.
It would, but then it'll be cliche because we've seen them join Roman in every scenario. Every time he was on the same brand, they end up, even when, King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, and Bobby Roode with the whole dog food angle, who would the Usos, so they're always pairing them, so it's just at this point it would be cliche, but at the same time it would make sense, and it would, because the bloodline and whatever they want to call it. So I mean, I get it, but I just feel like it would be cliche. And then as far as the Jey babyface, I wouldn't say that it's a babyface push for Jey. I would more so say it's helping the heel turn. The heel persona for Roman, because of the fact that you look at it from the aspect of, if Roman's doing this to his cousin, imagine what he would do to other superstars and competitors. So
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's supposed to be the idea, right? But
yeah.
All right, so the idea or the concept is, if Roman would do this to his own blood, imagine what he would do to another competitor, right? Imagine how vicious he would be, right? That's the idea, right? But the thing is we don't care. We don't care. Listen, Roman, we understand you're a heel, you're a Paul Heyman guy, you're going to be booked as strong as you want to be booked. What we care about is there going to be a new Samoan dynasty? That's what we care about. That's the hot thing right now. We want the Usos to join Roman because it's like, it's perfect. It makes so much sense. James Presley said exactly concerning, I guess, the cliche part. I think he was agreeing with you, Jay, about the Usos joining with Roman. Jose Vasquez says they're going to turn heel, and then the Rock is going to come and fight them in a gauntlet match. No, that's not going to happen, Jose.
Yeah,
the Rock is under a strict contract with his, not only with his own company but with Disney, for all the for the 512 movies he films a year, that he can't get injured, because if he gets injured, then that's financial liability that Vince McMahon has to pay out to Disney, and Vince ain't trying to see that kind of lawsuit. You know what I mean? So
just maybe one match with Roman at Mania, which is what they're talking about. So
yeah, he said Jose talking about a gauntlet match. The Rock ain't trying to fight no gauntlet match.
Yeah, Rock a one match man. That's it.
Right, he trying to show up and give you a one-off and then go right back to Hollywood, man. He ain't trying to fight no. He ain't trying to Kofi Kingston in. He's trying to get his Kofi Kingston on out here, man.
He's not trying to do three people elbows and 2 rock bottoms yet. No,
right. He ain't trying to do all that. Nah, B. Yeah, but I think the heel turn is the logical thing. But I want it. But do you want a heel turn, Jay? Or are you saying you don't want a heel turn because it's a cliche?
I don't know. I mean,
word.
I'm on the fence. I mean, like, I can see it. I want to see it happen because you want to build like this dominant faction. Because if you think about it, all the technical factions are on Raw with the Hurt Business, Retribution. So all the real factions are on Raw. There's no faction on SmackDown. So I mean, so SmackDown does technically need a faction, and the Usos and Roman and whoever else they decide to have join that faction. It would be cool. Like I said, even though it's cliche because again, you always always pairing them together. But what I mean, I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah. Speaking of COVID-19, in the last article I just read, Raw Underground is coming to an end for a specific reason. So apparently, Raw Underground is going to be on hold for a while, unless they decide to bring the idea back. But anyway, to get to the point, Raw Underground is going to be on hold for a while because of COVID-19. So as you guys have noticed, there was a lot of COVID-19 violations happening in the Raw Underground. As you noticed, everybody was close together. Nobody was wearing masks. You had a bunch of sweaty dudes grabbing each other, slamming each other, beating each other up. You know what I'm saying? So, nobody was 6 feet apart. Everybody was close to each other. That atmosphere was very conducive for COVID-19. Very. So they're definitely like, you know what, this is a bad idea. This is setting a bad example for our kids and possibly endangering our talent. I got some good and bad news at the same time. So WWE contacted John Cena and The Undertaker for WrestleMania 37. Apparently, there's going to be we might have an appearance by The Undertaker, which is a good thing, and then an appearance by John Cena, which is a bad thing. More cancerous. The cancerous Cena showing up. It's bad enough that this guy stunk up wrestling, but this guy's now in Hollywood stinking up movies too. I don't care if you're a John Cena fan. I don't care. Vent your frustrations at me. Please tell me why you like John Cena. Tell me you're a John Cena fan, and I'll tell you every reason why you shouldn't be a John Cena fan. I have legitimate reason. He ruined the attitude. He ruined the ruthless aggression era. He ruined wrestling single-handedly by himself. Anyway, I know this is a side note. This has nothing. This has a little to do with wrestling. But have any of you guys seen, or Jay, have you seen John Cena's new role in Suicide Squad 2?
No.
Which is going to be another theatrical disaster. I don't even know why John Cena even took that role if he wants to have a successful role in Hollywood. But he took, more likely money. But he took up the role as Gunmaster or some character. But he looks extremely ridiculous. Extremely ridiculous. Let me see if I can pull up this picture of John Cena's in this new Suicide Squad movie role. He's playing some guy. What is his role? Peacemaker. He looks freaking ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. It's like the worst thing ever, man. I seen this thing. I was like, this is crazy. But he chose this role. He's as a superhero in this role. It's horrible. But anyways, and he's in a new Fast and Furious movie. You guys know about that, right?
Yeah. He's playing Dom's brother.
Yeah. Jose Vasquez says Cena was Hogan. Jose Vasquez, I appreciate you joining us on Wrestling Talks and Thoughts. But don't you ever blaspheme on this show ever again, Jose. That's blasphemous, Jose. Let me tell you something, Jose. Let me tell you something. Cena will never, ever be Hogan. I understand the comparisons. I know the likeliness because it's like if John Cena turns heel, it will be a great heel turn. It will be just as equal to Hogan turning heel because he's been babyface forever. And it'll probably be really dope if he turns heel. No, I can't do it. I can't do it, Jose. I can't agree with you on that, Jose. I'm sorry, Sorry, Jose. Can't agree with you on that, man. Sorry, bro. I cannot agree with you on that. I understand what you're saying, and I understand exactly what you're saying because he sells a lot of merchandise. He appeals to the kids. He carried the business. Yes, I understand, but he has not his height of his success in the WWE has been as big as Hogan. He has not been as charismatic as Hogan. But I get it, Jose. I respect your opinion nonetheless. But he still sucks. Let me see if I can pull up this picture. Let me see. I got the picture. Let me see if it. But yeah, he plays the Peacemaker in his new movie, Suicide Squad. Guy looks ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All right, I'm gonna pull this picture out real quick. Daggone Peacemaker. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, John Cena. If you done single-handedly kill the wrestling business, now you want to kill the movie business? How dare you? How dare you, John Cena?
Well, speaking of your boy Cena, since we're on the topic,
okay,
your boy happened to get married last week, and it's funny.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he, as we all, what the heck, as we all know, when he was dating Nikki Bella, that's the only thing that she, ever wanted from him was that and possibly a kid. But she wanted to get married more so than anything, and Cena was real adamant about not getting married.
Mm-hmm.
So now Cena quietly got married to his girlfriend Shay. I do not know how to spell her last name.
Okay, so in other words, he curved Nikki Bella and married the next chick. So he just hopped over her like checkers, huh?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
He just hopped right over her like a game of hopscotch. He was like, all right, not next, and just married the next chick. And Nikki was really trying to get married. She was really trying to get married to John, and John wasn't feeling it.
And
but
I said they started dating in March of 2019. So I mean, he was with Nikki. I mean, and again, we sit here and joke around and and speculate, and as any relationship or anything, we don't know what happened behind closed doors. We only see what happens. What they put on TV or what they show for us, but we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. If they they were cool on screen, but we don't know what kind of issues or problems they had, behind closed doors. So we can't, what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? But but with that being said, we just don't know. But yeah, he was dating a girl for a little over a year, got married. So hey, he found the one to make him change his rules.
And Nikki is buying a whole bunch of John Cena merchandise and just cutting it up and burning it in her house right now because this Negro.
Well,
skip right, because think about that, right? I'm sorry, real quick. Jose Vasquez says he made her sign a contract of rules.
Yes, he did.
Crazy, but that's crazy, think about this person. You wanted to marry this person and everything, and this person you get with this girl. You want to marry her. You doing everything she signed the contract with rules. He had in his house. He had like these ridiculous rules. She followed it. She went by it. She did everything this guy told her to do. Right? She was in love with this guy. Wanted to get married. Talked about having kids and starting a future and all this other stuff. This guy's like, no, I'm not ready. I don't see kids in my future right now. I don't want to get married right now. And blah, 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 blah. Gives her all this stuff. You break up, a year and a half later, you go, or I think it was like 2 years. Like 2 years later, he goes, meets this girl. They date for a year, and then they get married like that. After you done dated this person for like 3-4 years, I'd be pissed.
I mean, in Nikki's defense, she ended up finding, her Prince Charming. They ended up getting married. They even had, recently had a baby. So everything that Nikki wanted from Cena, she ended up getting anyway. So it worked out for both of them, I guess.
So Nikki got married first, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess John Cena figured well, she got married, then I might as well get married then. I guess, right? But sometimes it works that way because you could be in a relationship. It'd be crazy. It's like crazy. You be in a serious relationship with somebody and you talk about future plans with them, and then it doesn't work out. And then it's like the next person you meet, you wind up doing those things with that person that you didn't do with the other person. It's crazy. That happened to me before. I think that happened to a lot of people actually.
It happened to me before too. I'll be lying if I said it didn't.
Right. It's crazy. But let's talk about the ridiculousness of John Cena's helmet in this picture. Let's talk about how crazy he looks with this retarded helmet on his head.
I thought he had a helmet with some headphones on at first. I was trying to really like dissect the picture.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Fast and Furious 1000 or 112. Which Fast and Furious are they on?
101.
101. Like Jesus, there's like 20 of those daggone movies, man. The never-ending franchise, Jesus, with cars, just cars. Yo, I heard they were trying to make a Fast and Furious goes to space.
What? Why? Yo, that's when they lose. That's when they'll lose me officially. Like
there's people that's gonna go watch it. I don't know why. People are gonna go watch it.
I'm sure it is, but yeah, that's when I'll be like, you know what? Now I'm done. That's it.
Okay, if John, I'm gonna tell you right now, right? I'm gonna tell you exactly for all you guys, for everybody who's watching. If John Cena, John Cena's role in Fast and Furious, I'm gonna tell you exactly what's gonna happen. I know this is kind of like a little bit off wrestling, but just entertain me for a little bit. I'm gonna tell you exactly what's gonna happen. John Cena, right, in the movie of Fast and Furious, is probably gonna turn to a good guy. He's gonna, have his little, spat with Dominic Toretto, also known as Vin Diesel, the actor, or whatever. They're gonna have their little argument or their fight or whatever, crap. And then he's gonna wind up turning good and helping Dominic Toretto because they're blood and that's his brother and he can never do that to him and all this other crap. And then he's gonna wind up joining him in the next Fast and Furious because he's really replacing The Rock, I think. But if he so happens to die in this movie, it'll be a good movie.
But it's so funny. I can see that happening because we know how Super Cena hates to be a heel. He always wants to be a baby face in the wrestling world as well as on, I guess on the big screen. So I can see that happening. I mean, but honestly, the reason I don't know. I mean, I can see it happening because it's typical for Fast and the Furious movies. If you guys, follow the franchise because what's his name just did it in the last one.
Who?
The guy from the transporter.
Jason Statham.
Jason Statham, right? So he ended up doing it in the last one, and that's how they made a spinoff for Hobbs and Shaw. But he was a one of the villains for maybe like 2 movies, and then he ended up helping them, helping Vin Diesel, and now he's one of the good guys. So it's typical.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because like the Fast and Furious team is like they're like the NWO of like movies. It's like every celebrity that freaking shows up as a freaking threat winds up becoming part of their freaking roster of freaking saviors or whatever, car racing, drag racing saviors, where they stop crime with cars and stuff.
Look.
I'll tell you right now, if they make a Fast and Furious Transformer crossover, Hollywood is over. Hollywood's dead.
They see the greater good, and they're fighting the good fight.
Right. But this freaking guy John Cena, I can't, man. I can't with John Cena. I really can't with this guy, man. I wish he would just go away. I wish he would. Bad news, not so bad, not necessarily bad news, but I think they're going to work something out. NXT is making plans to strip Finn Balor of the NXT title if necessary. So according to reports, if Finn Balor does not recover in a certain time, is not able to compete in a certain time frame, then they will have to strip him of the title. They're trying everything they can to not strip him of the title. And I think that is a great idea. I think that when certain competitors get injured, they should stop trying to strip them of the belt, unless they really suck. Like, unless we really don't care for them having the belt. It's just like they should really be stripped, unless like this injury is like, is going to keep you out for like 8 months. 6 months, 3 months or whatever. But if Finn could be out for about 2 months or like a month, and they able to, he's able to, recuperate in a good enough time to where he can wrestle, I think it'll be a good thing to see him, see him back,
Yeah, I mean,
see him there, for them to actually like stick by him,
right, because they have enough talent to, hold down the fort, so to speak. With him being out, like, you have, guys like Champa, you can try to put more prestige on the North American Championship with, Damian Priest, because he had a great match with Dexter Loomis, on NXT this past Wednesday. So, they can put prestige in that. So it's not like they don't have titles that they could, help elevate or, have title matches for. It's just you buying Finn time. And, he has a broken jaw. So I don't know how long that takes to heal or recover, but I don't see him, being out that long. But then at the same time, like I said, you still have the Undisputed Era. You can do things with them. You have Ciampa, you have Gargano. So there's a lot of guys that you can, mix around, Velveteen. So you can, mix around guys, even if it's old matchups, just until, Finn comes back, and then, have a battle royal or have a number one contenders tournament, and that a number one contenders tournament would kind of save time so Finn doesn't have to be compete, but then you're still putting prestige, and then, have it in by the time, Finn's ready to recover.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that's true. That definitely, it's very similar to how they try to do with the Intercontinental title when Brock Lesnar was holding the Universal title hostage, for like freaking 3-4 years. Jesus Christ. When he was holding that belt hostage, when he's holding those titles hostage, I was just like, come on, man. Vince, what are you doing? But Vince was trying to build some allure around Brock. And what they started to do was, they would take, he was taking Seth to Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler and other former world champions, and having them, pick up the reins of holding the Intercontinental title to bring more prestige to it as the must-watch championship belt to have. But when he started playing hot potato with the title and just started taking it off of like people like Rollins, who was really bringing more prestige to it, and just passing the Intercontinental belt around, then it was just like, all right, now we don't really feel this plan right now. Like it started to take away from what he was doing because Rollins was really making that belt hot at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, so and then Vince decided, hey, they decided, oh, let's take the belt off of Rollins and stick it on somebody else. It was just like, man, just like you could have let him hold the belt close to Royal Rumble when he would have, lost the belt, then have him win the Royal Rumble and then go on to fight Lesnar if that was your plan, But right. But I definitely agree. Like, definitely putting more prestige on the North American title, which will put Damian Priest more in the spotlight until Finn returns, which would be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully they do, because they can do that, and they should. That would be a great idea. But the thing about it is, what's cool about the fact that they're holding off on having Finn return as the NXT champion is the fact that they're really building they're building more strength and more allure around the champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really, because again, you want to see the champion drop the belt. You don't want to see him go out on an injury and then return, and then it's like, I never lost the belt. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, come on, man. Like, we don't want to see these people give up these titles. You know what I'm saying? If they do lose these titles, we want to see them come back and, win, regain what they lost, not just give up the title and then move on and then come back like as if they never, were the person to fill those shoes or be in that spot. So.
Right, which would be, unfortunately, the story of Finn. Obviously, we know the whole story with him in the Universal Championship, and then if this happens, it'll be part 2 with the NXT Championship. So
yeah, exactly. Because I seen like this article online that was like, they were saying like, is the NXT title cursed? And I seen another article online, is the Universal title cursed? And, they were just talking about how Finn Balor was injured, how Seth Rollins got the Universal title, and how when Seth Rollins got the Universal title, he never really, he got booed by the fans. He was at one of his worst in his WWE career. They talked about how when Roman Reigns finally got the Universal title. When Roman got the title, he got sick. You know what I'm saying? And Roman had to leave. Then they talked about how Kevin Owens had the Universal title, and it was like once Owens lost the title, it was like he just faded into the mid card in obscurity of being so far away from the title picture that it's like it was never even mentioned, or it's like it almost seems like he's never ever held the Universal title. Like you wouldn't know that Kevin Owens has ever held a major title, you know?
Right.
You know, he's almost being treated like Ziggler. So, and the Miz, you know, he's almost being treated in the same capacity. So they were talking about the NXT title, like about Finn being injured with the title. Then you have Karrion Kross, who was injured before Finn. Then they talked about how you had competitors who were former NXT champions, went to the main roster, and and some of them never really held any major gold or never really lived up to the expectations in which they were trying to push them, like Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, who else? You know, Big E. But Big E career wasn't that bad, but you know, so they spoke about these two titles and saying that they might be, you know, cursed. But you know, I don't think they're cursed. You know, things happen, because if that's the case, then the WWF Championship will be cursed, because I believe it was Buddy Rogers. No, it was Buddy Rogers who was the first WWF champion, and he was crowned the first WWF champion, and only held the belt for I think a month or maybe 2 weeks or something like that, because he suffered a heart attack, so he had to pass the belt on to somebody else.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he didn't even hold the belt long. Buddy Rogers, and he's been praised as one of the like greatest WWE champions, but that's his career prior to him holding the WWF champion, because it's what he accomplished prior to being in the WWF. You know, so but yeah, he was the first WWE champion and held the belt for like a month or something like that, and then had to give it up. But do you think the title is cursed, JJ?
No. I mean, things happen, you know. It's not like, you know, as to go into other sports like the Madden jinx, as they would always say.
Okay.
You know, for a certain stretch, you know, they said if you was on a Madden cover, you end up getting hurt that year. So now that was more of a curse. But
okay,
yeah.
What happened? So how many people were on the Madden cover? So everybody that was on the Madden cover was like injured.
They got hurt that same year, and I want to say it was from 2007.
Yeah,
I want to say from 2007 to 2016, 17, maybe.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah, like everybody who was on a Madden cover that year, you know, Madden comes out, you know, the year before, so. So Madden comes out normally in August. So that year, and you know, football season starts around September. So yeah, that year, whoever's on the cover end up getting either. I mean, more likely it was sometimes it was a rare injury that kept them out like 5 weeks or so, but sometimes it was, you know, longer than that. So yeah, so everybody that was on the cover ended up getting hurt. But to say, I don't think that the belt's a jinx, because, you know, Adam Cole just had the belt. Nothing happened with him. You know, Keith Lee had the belt. Nothing happened with him. And even before that, you know, Ciampa had it. You know, Gargano had it. So, you know, so I wouldn't say it's cursed. I mean, you know, it's professional wrestling. So, you know, things happen. You know, so I mean, and then as far as, you know, and like the point you made with Kevin Owens, yes, it seems like Kevin Owens never had the belt. Now, luckily, it was recorded, you know, on live, you know, TV, so we can go back to see it. But yeah, it seems like, you know, Kevin Owens was never, you know, if you was to just start watching wrestling now, and the way they have Kevin Owens booked, you would look at it and, you know, you'd be like, oh, well, you know, and if you explain that person, like he was Universal Champion too, like him, when, why? Nah, hell no, you know. So it's, you know, but it's due to booking, but. Yeah, I mean, I really don't think that the belts are cursed.
This is crazy, because it's like it's crazy because when I look at the fact that Kevin Owens is not being pushed in the heavyweight title picture, and he's just having these random feuds, it's just like, come on, man. I'm like, yo, Kevin Owens is like one of the best competitors you have. Excellent on the mic, can run a great feud. He had a great feud with, a great feud with Shane McMahon. And I thought that after that run, that would, catapult him to stardom. But I think Vince got mad when Kevin Owens went on his rant on SmackDown. I felt it going sideways. It was like when he was saying what he was saying, I was like, all right, he's having a CM Punk moment, but I don't think this is going to work out for him in a way that he hopes it's going to work out for him. And they booked the feud. He ran that feud and wound up losing the feud, I think, right? He lost the feud with Shane, right?
Who, Kevin Owens?
Yeah.
No, because he ended up Shane ended up getting fired. So.
Oh, so he won a feud. Okay, so he runs a feud, but I thought it was going to like push him, more in the spotlight, but they didn't push him much. They just,
especially after that promo he cut, where he was like, nobody wants to see you every week. Like, you guys asked for change. You said you was going to make things different, and next thing we know, we see you more than anybody. Nobody asked for that. Like, that promo that's one of Kevin Owens, best promos in my opinion.
Yeah, that was definitely one of his best promos. Definitely. I think, definitely one of his best promos. So let's get down to it, man. So SmackDown, man. The New Day breakup, man. This is sad, man. We seen Kofi Kingston and Big E fighting back tears. These guys been together for 6 years. They were stuck with a gimmick that was not supposed to work. As a matter of fact, they were pushed into obscurity, left as mid-carters and jobbers, forgotten, not cared about, came together, formed this group that initially was not accepted and booed, and people was like, who and what the hell are they? And when they were able to grab the right control and the right handle of their character, because I think it was somewhat of the carelessness of how they were handled a bit that allowed them to transition into such a iconic group, right? And that is it was when they came out, they started doing the power positivity for maybe 2-3 months. People booed them and they started talking about all this positive stuff. And then when they turned heel is when they caught on fire. And then they started calling everybody booty, and then they just worked the gimmick. And I mean, for 6 years, these guys have been like the backbone of SmackDown. Like literally, they have not even just the backbone of SmackDown for about maybe 2 years or a year and a half when Seth Rollins' reign as WWE champion, Universal champion was falling flat. We had the New Day that still kept us entertained. When Roman Reigns was having his, feud with Brock Lesnar, and that was, and at the time was getting frustrated because Roman Reigns wasn't capturing the title, so we can finally end the feud and just move forward with Roman's character. New Day's whole entire gimmick was literally the backbone of Raw and SmackDown for years. For a minute, it was like if nothing else was entertaining, New Day always delivered all the time, consistently. Big E throwing his jacket at Corey Graves every night.
Hilarious.
The New Day having that. It was crazy because even they had a hot feud with the Usos, and the feud with the Usos and the New Day at the time wasn't really looked at as it was a high profile tag match, a tag feud. But I guarantee you, if you just go back and view that feud again, it's one of the best feuds they ever had. It's probably one of the best feuds you'll see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. And it's because the way it happened, it was just okay, the Usos and the New Day is going to feud. It's expected, but it's just that at the time, because I think most of the fans and some of us, our attention was more on the heavyweight title and the Intercontinental title and what's happening here and what's going here. It's almost it wasn't overlooked, but it was still watched. You know what I'm saying? So. But these guys, man, were pure gold since the inception. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's seen them coming. Nobody's seen them coming, and it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm kind of like going on this like speech about them, but the fact of the matter is like these guys, all three, you know, and it's a crazy thing. Like if you compare and if you compare the New Day to the Shield, the New Day were better. They were better. Um, I know that's a stretch. I know that is a stretch. I know that's a stretch because the Shield was this cool group who came out in black and they imposed their will on anybody that stood in their way of justice and or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and beat up any good guy or any heel that stood in their way of, you know, of what they were trying to accomplish. And it was true. They did it, and they were at the time they were my favorite group. But when I look back at the consistency of New Day, I look back at great moments, funny moments, entertainment, great spots, great matches. Kofi Kingston winning the world heavyweight title. Um, them breaking the Legion of Doom's record. Um, them having that, you know, them just kind of like just every show they were placed on, them always being a high point, them hosting WrestleMania. It was just like they just had a great run, unmatched. You know what I'm saying? And it's like but consistently for 6 years, which is monumental.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So I'll get it. I'll get to this point first. So it was kind of like, you know, so you know, last night Kofi, Xavier, you know, and even big, you know, well, Kofi, Xavier, they all put out their heart. You know, Kofi stating that he was at a point where he was about to hang up his boots and just, you know, walk away from the business.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, he was approached, and even Xavier, he made a good point too. Like, you know, if it wasn't for New Day, you know, he wouldn't even be in the spot right now. You know, because we don't know if Xavier would have had a decent character that he could have grasped on and, you know, resonate with the WWE universe to be on here long enough. So he might have a long time ago been with you know, those, you know, yearly budget cut, you know, superstars. You know, so you know, so like you said, they started out. You know, they came out and everybody was just like, yo, what are these church people? Like, what's going on? And then they went from that to, you know, these, you know, like you said, heels that started calling everybody booty. And then they went from that to, you know, the fans started, you know, connecting with them. Then, you know, they came out dancing, twerking, and things like that. And the fans really, you know, started connecting with them more. And then after that, you know, we see what it you know, spiraled out to. And again, yes, I feel like out of all the feuds they did have, the Usos were their greatest feud. I definitely agree with you with that. Because even if you go and just look back at their match, like all their matches in general, there's not one match that you will see the New Day and Usos have that you're just like, hey, that was whack. Like you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, even though at this point you probably know the you know, the outcome of the match, but you'll just be like, dang, like that was crazy. Like, oh, that spot was crazy.
Yeah.
Now, for you saying that they were better than the Shield, I would have to disagree with you with that.
Why?
Now, as far as longevity, you know, yes, but the Shield, they connected with the fans from day one. You know, when they first came out, you know, the fans were like, "Oh, hey, who is this? Who is this group?" You know, and then it was a bunch of unknown, and then when they did start coming out, you know, the fans were connected because they wanted somebody to beat this team. This team was so dominant that they were like, yo, somebody has to beat them. They can't go undefeated forever. And then when they start, you know, connecting with them, you know, that's when, you know, they really skyrocketed because, you know, they came out, they beat Evolution and things like that. Now, we don't know how far the Shield would have gone because I still feel to this day they were broken up too soon. Because they were at a high point. And with them being at their very, very high point, you break them up, which was, you know, and then it's like, even then when you try to bring them back together, like, you know, the chemistry was there. The fans like, oh, yes, it's Shield, but organically it wasn't like, okay, well, these guys are still together. And even in a feud that they had with the New Day, I mean, well, not even a feud, with the match they had with the New Day, that was a great match. You know, if you can go back and look at that match they had with the New Day, it was a great match. So being that the New Day stayed together as long as they did, you know, and, you know, the Shield was broken up too soon, That's the only reason I really don't, I disagree with you with saying that the New Day was a better faction than the Shield. But other than that, yeah, hands down, the New Day top 5, factions of all time, in my opinion.
Okay, all right. So let's have this quick debate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quick debate. All right. Let's compare. Who cut the most memorable promos, New Day or the Shield?
Most memorable promos?
Memorable. Most entertaining and memorable promos.
New Day.
All right. Who had the best tag team title run, New Day or Shield?
Well, I mean, New Day, but that's not that. Only reason
I'm just comparing stats. I'm not gonna.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just comparing. I just want to throw stats out there, and I'm not trying to persuade you. I just want to have this conversation because I just think that this would be just a great conversation.
You're not gonna persuade me. I still feel the Shield.
I know I ain't gonna persuade you. I ain't gonna persuade you. I ain't gonna persuade you. But I just want to bring that up because I just want to bring those things up. It's just that who had better feuds. Like I think and I think that in itself is up for debate. Like you could say the Shield had better feuds because they had an awesome feud with Evolution. And then they had their feud with CM Punk. Then they had their feud with
the Wyatt family.
The Wyatt family. So they had some awesome feuds, right? But it's like I love the Shield because I was a Shield fan from day one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not from day one, but from day one, I should say. In the early stages, I liked them. I was like, who are these guys? These guys are freaking cool. I like this. I like what they're doing with this. Totally. Like, you know what I'm saying? Completely. These guys dressed in black, they coming out beating everybody up. But it's to me, it's just the raw ability to take something that you're not supposed, that you would literally turn away from and not care about and not concern yourself with, and then make it to, it's like Triple H. It's the same thing with Triple H. Like Triple H career could have faded into obscurity. This guy was like a phoenix, man. Like it's just how he went from there to there. You know what I'm saying? And people say, oh, it's because he married the boss's daughter. It's like a cheap shot. It's like, no. Before Triple H even married the boss's daughter, he was on trajectory to be a world heavyweight champion. As a matter of fact, he was a world heavyweight champion before he married the boss's daughter. He was a world heavyweight champion before they were even involved. Like people, like, you know what I'm saying? So before they were even involved, before they even started having feelings for each other, and they explained that on a documentary, like before they even started getting close with each other. Because remember, Triple H was a world heavyweight champion. Like when he was still with China. So, it's just like, but anyway, I digressed. But it's just the fact that these guys it's just the things they accomplished as a group together, just fairly off of their talent, off of them being entertainment and being undeniable. Like the Shield was put together, they were manufactured by the WWE machine. They put these guys together. Somebody came up with an idea. They grabbed this person, that person, put them together, said we're going to make this mega group and we're going to push them to stardom. And that's what they did. The New Day with 3 wrestlers who came together, got that. Xavier Woods, I think it was Xavier Woods or Kofi, came up with the idea to say, hey, let's get together, form a group, and let's do something. They became a group and they were supposed to fail. And these guys wind up being able to capture world heavyweight gold. That helped Kofi get where he was supposed to be. It helped Xavier be seen how he was supposed to. It was raw. It was raw, organic talent. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, this is just my appreciation and just my acknowledgement of what these guys accomplished when they were there, man. It was just while they were together, it's just crazy, man. But to see them actually break up, and it's so crazy because I didn't want them to break up.
Me neither.
It's just like, why? It's like they don't need to. But
well, now on the flip side, if you really think about it, they didn't break up. They're just on different brands. So the idea would be for them to have, New Day on both shows. Remember New Day on Raw, remember New Day on SmackDown, to continue to add to, the New Day's. I'm trying to think of the word. Their brand, let's say. So,
right.
and like I said, the draft is only a year. And I'm sure, after, they experiment and see what's going on, I can see them bringing, the New Day back together. Or, they have random trades throughout the year. So I can see them, at some point, coming back. But I think it's more of an experimental thing, because at the end of the day, you need all three of them together in order to, you know what I'm saying? So like we said, they needed to separate Big E from Kofi and Xavier to, have that more serious and not be so comedic. But trust me, I don't believe this is the end of the New Day. I believe that they will at some point get back together, and we'll just be like, oh snap, and then they'll just have to reinvent themselves again. They went from throwing cereal to throwing pancakes. So
yeah. Now I agree. I think they're going to come back together. I definitely think they are going to come back together in the future. I really hope that Big E's singles competitive run really works out. I really hope they push him to the moon, because I think my thing is, like, the push that they're trying to give to Lars Sullivan, they should give to Big E. Like, that's the push they should be giving to Big E.
Yeah, I can never connect with Lars. I'm sorry. Even back in the NXT days, I was never able to connect with Lars Sullivan ever.
Yeah. So and then speaking of Lars Sullivan, we brought up the whole. No, we didn't bring that up. But I read this week. I should have put that in the news and rumors that he apparently. So did you catch the joke? Did you hear about Lars Sullivan? The news that he was in some kind of hot water.
About his performance before?
No.
Okay.
Nah, not that. So what happened was this week, somebody brought up that there was a issue with him and a yoga instructor. He was sexually harassing or something like that. And so that was the rumor. So on Friday Night SmackDown, when Triple H was like, and you have the monster, and he's a freak, super freak, and then Stephanie was like, Rick James, you talking about Rick James? Is like, no, Lars Sullivan, because he was accused of sexual harassment. He called him the super freak.
Oh, got you.
Super freak. So I was sitting there, I was like, super freak, and then I said to Chanel, I was like, yeah, he was in trouble for sexual harassment, and then I thought about what Triple H just said, and it went straight over my head. I was like, okay.
When he was saying, I was like, who the hell is he talking about? A super freak? Like, I'm like, guys talking about 70s, like Rick James. He's like, no, the freak. I'm like, oh, Lars Sullivan. I'm like, why was it super freak? What the hell's wrong with Triple H?
Triple H is a savage, yo. I was like, yo, it went straight over my head. When I thought about the allegations, I was like, wow. Like, this guy's funny. I was like, he's bugging. He's wild. Triple H is wild. He's a wild boy.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I felt some type of way seeing the Street Profits on SmackDown, because I felt like they're a Raw tag team.
Yeah.
But I guess they'll grow on me. But yeah, I'm so used to seeing them on Raw, and they've been on Raw for so long. So
yeah,
that was kind of weird seeing them on SmackDown.
Yeah, I think they were definitely helping the brand grow, and they were definitely a great touch, a good touch. How long have they held the belts? Like 200 and something days so far, right? As Raw Tag Team Champions.
I think so. I'll have to go back and research, but I believe it was. I remember they took it from Seth and Buddy, but I think I was here, and I haven't been here for a year yet. So, and it had to been after. No, it was before a month. I don't remember, but yeah, it might be close to that 200 and some days, because they had it for quite some time.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on, let me check. I'm gonna read the let me see. I want to see. I want to see how long they had it because they had it for a while. Because once they won it, they never lost it.
Yeah. So I have some homework for you, Sai.
Okay.
So I just recently started watching last week. So on the WWE Network, there's a show called The Bump. I believe it comes on every Wednesday or something like that. I always see notifications. I'll always ignore it or whatever. But
Okay.
last week I watched it, and they had a mystery guest.
Okay.
So this mystery guest, he had a mask on and a cape and all this other stuff. So you had no idea who he was. So he would cut these historic promos, and the historic promos that he was cutting, you had to try to guess who he was from the promo.
Okay.
So me personally, I thought it was Damian Sandow because he sounded like Damian Sandow. So he cut the promo with Cena. Well, he reenacted the promo Cena cut against Kevin Federline.
Okay.
He redid the promo where the Macho Man he cut against Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
He reenacted the promo that The Miz cut on Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
And I believe it was one more. But you're not going to believe who this mystery person was who cut these promos.
Okay. So you want me to go watch The Bump and to find out who this person was?
Yeah, that's what we'll do. I'm not gonna tell you who it was, and we'll discuss it for the next show. But yeah, so you can go back 3 episodes of The Bump, not this week's episode, but the last 3 weeks before this week's episode. Yeah,
Okay.
check it out. And just or you could just skip it. And it's gonna be quick. You can watch the promos, and then you can watch this week's episode to see who it was. And when you see it, you can be like, "What the hell?" It's definitely not gonna be who you expected it. I can tell you like that because I really thought it was gonna be Damian Sandow.
Okay. I'm trying to guess, but all right, I'm gonna go watch it. So any high points from SmackDown?
Outside of we touched base on the New Day's emotional farewell match. The fact that Roman made Braun look so weak, like, oh my God, like I don't know how Braun can recover from this. Like Roman dominated Braun.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I'm trying to see I think that was my only high points.
Yeah, I think but I knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah,
I knew it was gonna happen.
I didn't think he dominated like that though. I think I thought it was gonna be a decent back and forth, but geez.
Yeah, because Braun is expendable right now. He's an ex Universal Champion. I'm sorry, former Universal Champion, former WWE Tag Team Champion, former Intercontinental Champion. So now he's accomplished, even though he hasn't had like his most legitimate reign so far has been a Universal title.
Right.
His most legitimate, his best reign has been a Universal title, which was actually pretty good, pretty decent. You know what I'm saying? Like it could have been longer. I prefer to see Strowman holding the belt this long over Drew McIntyre, in my opinion. And it would have made more sense, but that didn't happen. But I expected that. I really expected that. And then to see Roman come out there dominate the way he dominated, and then when Jay came out, I was like, all right, this is a special. This is a bleeding over of the feud until Hell in a Cell, so they can keep building or whatever. But I expected it. Braun is right now, he's expendable because they want to make Roman look strong. Because what I read is what they're trying to really do is they're trying to have Roman hold his belt for a very long time. Like this gimmick is hot, so Roman's going to hold his belt for. I'm expecting a year.
I can see that.
I'm expecting a year. I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with it. I'm a Roman fan. Always been a Roman fan, so I'm totally cool with it. I'm like, yeah, let this guy do his thing. You know what I'm saying?
And it's
But
supposed to be so he can fight on SmackDown. Daniel Bryan. At some point he'll cross paths with Daniel. I guess he'll have a legitimate match, maybe against Kevin Owens. I don't see them having a feud. Matt Riddle's on Raw now.
I wonder who is. I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but I wonder who his WrestleMania opponent's going to be.
Right now they're definitely. Vince's high hopes that it's going to be The Rock. That's Vince's high hopes. That's what they're talking about. That's what they're trying to work out. That's what they're trying to accomplish. So that's Vince's wish list. I was reading who will be a Plan B, but I don't remember. I apologize. I don't remember who it was. But yeah. The Rock is Plan A at this point because it would just make sense.
I actually read an article. Let me see if I can pull it up. If I can find this article. I think I actually read an article that says that it might not happen.
Oh, damn.
So, and The Rock is, I know. The Rock spoke about it, and it would be dope. But The Rock is one wrestler who always goes into WrestleMania as champ and always leaves not the champ.
Right.
If whenever The Rock goes into WrestleMania with the belt, always expect him to leave without it. It's crazy. The Rock is the only mega WWE superstar out of the big ones that always, had main evented WrestleMania and never won a major title at WrestleMania. He's walked in WrestleMania 3 times as WWE champion and has walked out without the belt.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. His first main event of WrestleMania was against Austin. Walked in champion, left without the belt. Second main event of WrestleMania was against Austin. Walked in as champion, left without the belt. When he fought John Cena, he walked in as WWE champion, left without the belt. Who else? That was it. I don't think he carried the WCW World Heavyweight title to WrestleMania that year. No, he didn't. That year, Jericho had the belts. He was the undisputed champion, and Triple H wound up winning the undisputed titles. But yeah, that's some crazy stuff. Sucks. It's like the biggest movie star in the world. One of the biggest WWE superstars never had. And that's crazy because at least he headlined. CM Punk ain't even headline. CM Punk, man, he ain't even headline. But hey, CM Punk, at least you walked out as a CM Punk. At least CM Punk walked out of WrestleMania as champion. He went in as champion and walked out as champion. And that's rare. It's not too many champions. You have a few champions who've done that, but every champion usually don't do that. Right. So it was interesting. Cena did it. Triple H did it. CM Punk did it. Who else did it? I think Triple H did it twice. Randy Orton did it. Yeah, there's not too many people who was able to walk in WrestleMania as champion and walk out. It's rare. Becky Lynch, I guess you can count her. But yeah. What else on SmackDown? So NXT. What about NXT?
Oh, and the fake contract signing that was supposed to go down last night with Sasha and Bayley, and Bayley's walked out without signing, which was funny. But NXT, NXT was cool. Like I said, the main event was Damian Priest versus Dexter Lumis, and then and it was a great match. And then your boy Cameron Grimes came out and interfered, and he basically cost Dexter Lumis the match, and obviously Damian Priest had no idea.
Yeah.
Then we all know. I believe Halloween Havoc is this Wednesday, where Candice LeRae is actually going to compete against Io Shirai, and Damian Priest is actually defending his belt against Johnny Gargano, where they can fulfill their prophecy with being the first husband and wife, champion. But their matches is going to be determined based off the spinnable wheel. So you know how basically, when WWE had the special guest host, and they should spin the wheel to figure out what kind of matches they were going to have.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of matches that Gargano and Candice LeRae are going to have in that match. That's going to determine their stipulation.
You know what sucks about it's going to suck about Halloween Havoc?
What?
We are not going to see the Demon.
Yeah.
Because I know for sure Finn would have showed up as the Demon for Halloween.
He could probably show up and cut a ridiculous promo. And I believe the Undisputed Era is supposed to they want a number one contenders match, so they're going to be competing against what's the tag champs? Jesus. Breezango. I couldn't think of their name. Breezango. Yeah, so they're gonna fight Breezango for the tag titles.
Yeah.
What else happened on NXT that I can remember? Yeah, I believe those are the high points. And Toni Storm actually had her first match, back on the Gold brand. So. Yeah. So the NXT Women's Division is looking real tough, with Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm, Ember Moon, Io Shirai, Mercedes. No, not Mercedes. Whatever her Gonzalez. What's her? Tegan Knox. So yeah. So, a side note, I don't know if you noticed or you knew about it. I meant to text you yesterday to tell you. So Smackdown, obviously, they had a pre-show last night.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they had a pre-show going into SmackDown. I don't know how that happened. So on the pre-show, they had guests. So the last guest they had before Triple H and Stephanie went into the ring, they were actually on the pre-show panel, and Booker T asked Triple H. He said, "I know you're in charge of the NXT brand. He said, who do you see in 5 years coming to the main roster and making a huge, huge impact?"
Okay.
So Triple H said, there's a ton of talent in NXT. So he said, but the person he sees coming from NXT, coming to the main roster, and even headlining WrestleMania within the next 5 years?
Adam Cole?
No.
Who?
Rhea Ripley. And Triple H gave this endorsement. So that's big.
That's real big. And Stephanie's the head of the women's she's head of the women. She's doing a lot of management over there. So, and she's been, they've been doing very well. Now,
I'm sorry to cut you off. So I forgot. So that's how it's, because initially Triple H said Booker asked what guy he sees coming. So Stephanie said all woman. He said, oh yeah, all woman, and that's how they came up with Rhea Ripley. So that's how it actually went.
Okay, I'll say this. Can I say this though?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. This is a bad thing, though. This is a bad thing, and I think this needs to be discussed. This should be definitely. This is going to be our last topic. Let me just. Um, I think we need to. I think we need to talk about this, right?
Hmm.
Um, Women headlining wrestling events is a bad idea.
Really?
It's a bad idea.
Mm.
Most of the merchandise sales comes from men,
Ag-
probably more than likely. Right.
Agreed.
Most of the viewership comes from men.
Agreed.
Most of the interest of sports and entertainment comes from men. The demographic of women, or the ratio of demographic of women who would watch or entertain sports, is very, very low. Out of 100%, excuse me, I don't even think there's even 10% of women who watch sports. I don't
Mm.
even think. I think it's probably, it could be like 10%, 10 or 15%, right? Because you got like the WNBA, you know, and then you have like women's tennis. You know what I'm saying? But I think mostly men watch those sports. You have women who watch them, but you know what I'm saying? It's just that women headlining WrestleMania, and I know that they're trying to be ahead of the curve because there is women in sports and entertainment, and not saying that they can't grow, but and, I know we're having like this whole girl power situation going on and everything, but women naturally, and I'm just kind of going into like just the mindset of just like kind of like women usually, from a just normal basis. Women love soft music. They like a lot of soft things. They like to relax. They like fancy things. They like their hair done. They like a lot of drama. A lot of stuff that women watch really involves a lot of drama. Now, sports and entertainment can give women drama. However, a lot of that drama really deals with things that are more storyline based in the sense of, like Walmart, like Hallmark movies, and um, really things that make more sense to really explain with some more complexity. Like wrestling doesn't really give that much complexity. You know what I'm saying? I think for women, I think it'll be an interesting thing. There's a small demographic. My point is this: is there a small demographic of women who watch wrestling, and them having women headline WrestleMania is a cool idea, or having them headline pay-per-views and wrestling events is a cool idea once in a while. But they have been somewhat of a consistency of them doing this all the time, and this is what they should not do, because that WrestleMania with where Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, they said the viewership went down that WrestleMania when they headlined. A lot of people left the stadium at the time; it was too cold. I mean,
Yeah.
besides the fact that it was long,
But
yeah,
see, yeah, the thing with me, I left way before that. I think I left even I left before the Finn Balor Finn Balor Lashley match. Like because it was freezing. Like we didn't think it was gonna be that. I mean, we should have known it was New York, so it's gonna be cold. But we
right.
typically didn't really think about it like that. And yeah, it was freezing that day. So yeah, we a lot of people did leave early, and I mean it's not their fault.
Yeah, and he said some of the viewership went down. So not only that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it was like the highest payoff or the highest point of that WrestleMania was Kofi versus Daniel Bryan. Like that was the big payoff match. That was the WrestleMania moment match. Out of any match, that was the WrestleMania moment match. That should have headlined WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to, but again, them doing this whole women's revolution thing, I can dig it. But they need to stop having women headline these events because they're not the consume like they're not the major consumers. You know what I'm saying? It's like the same thing with these Marvel movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they made Captain Marvel, they made a female superhero, which is dope. And they should do that. They should make female superhero movies because that's not going to say that men won't watch them. But you know what I'm saying? As long as you make the female superhero movies with the right intentions of making it a good movie, don't make it a female superhero movie because you want to put a female in it to express girl power. It's just like, no, just make a good movie and have a female in it. You know what I'm saying? Write a good, like if you're gonna make a movie about Catwoman, make a good Catwoman movie. Don't make a woman's movie because you want to, throw a whole bunch of girl power cliches in it. Like that's just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Just make a good movie. People will get the point in the movie with the character and the story and a great story. But that's the thing, is just like, because all the consumers are, and that's my point. My point is just that the consumers are not women, they're men. You know what I'm saying? And then it's going to become so redundant to a point where people are going to be like, it's like, all right. Could we have, such and such in a main event like how we had it before? And now granted, the women's division has been quite interesting, but only with just what's going on with Becky and Sasha with this feud, and then and that's really it. You know what I'm saying? And part of the reason why the women's division has been so good is because they're still situating the whole roster with the men.
So here's my rebuttal to that. Now, do I think women should headline every or events often? Depends on the storyline.
Okay.
And not only the storyline, also depends on the woman. Now, as much as I love Shayna Baszler, as much as I love Bianca Belair, what I like to see them headline pay-per-view, not yet.
Okay.
And it's based, again, now, if you think back, with the whole thing, right, like leading into SummerSlam before, before Nia Jax broke Becky Lynch's nose, we're supposed to have Becky versus, Becky versus Ronda at Survivor Series. Now that happened, so that made Becky reinvent her character to become the man. Now that feud they've been teasing that battle since November, before Survivor Series. So the build for that was just so intense, so crazy, where I feel that match. I mean, I don't agree. I just don't disagree with you. The Kofi Mania, that whole thing, that was great. It was, but we knew that Kofi was going to walk away with the belt, so we kind of knew that already. But
did we? Did we really?
Of course we did. We all knew. If you did not know that Kofi was going to beat Daniel Bryan for the belt that night, you had serious issues, because we all knew that that Kofi's going to win that match. But the dynamic of, you have a feud that you've been teasing and hinting at that's supposed to happen at Survivor Series that didn't happen, that was pushed back, and now you have an opportunity to have it at WrestleMania. Now, Charlotte Flair should have never been added to that match. That's my opinion, because she had no business being in that match. Yeah, she fought Ronda at Survivor Series, and she ended up getting disqualified with the kendo stick. But still, she shouldn't have not been in that match, because it should have just been Ronda and Becky, because that's who was supposed to be at Survivor Series. It didn't happen, so they kept fueling to have that battle. Becky wins the Royal Rumble, gets the number one contender. So it should have just been Becky and Ronda, and they should have headlined WrestleMania. And and even though the viewership went down, but that should have been the match, just them two. Now, also even when Sasha Banks and Charlotte had their Hell in a Cell match, they ended it. That was, I need to look back at that pay-per-view, but I don't think off the top of my head, I can't think of no other match that could have ended that pay-per-view. Now, and again, for me, it depends on the storyline, and it also depends on the women wrestlers. Now, unfortunately, we see more of the men have weekly matches, so therefore they get more repetition, more in hint, like as we mentioned last week, where people like Zelina Vega, who has matches once in a while. You can't think that Zelina Vega is going to come perfect her craft if she has a match once every 7 months. So I feel the women should have more match, even though like on Raw, I know they have 2 matches a night. SmackDown, they may have 1 or 2 maybe, but you need to keep focus on these certain women, so they can have regular matches, so they can get the flow of it, they can get their timing down pat, they can get everything going, and then you'll have more women superstars where you can, take the trust. Like, okay, well, I seen what she do. I like, because honestly, we're gonna get sick and tired of Becky, Bayley, Charlotte, Sasha.
Yeah.
At some point, we're gonna get tired of seeing these 5 women all the time, over and over again, because we're gonna feel like they're being force fed to us. We want to see Bianca, we want to see Shayna, we want to see, hopefully, the Ruby Riot and Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan get on the same page.
Right.
Not so much Nia Jax. You can still kill us about her, but and Natty's another one I'm getting tired of. So it's just like we want to see fresh faces. Like, you have a ton of talent in that women talent in that locker room that you can mix around and play around with. So let's give them matches, even if they're tag team matches, triple threat matches. I remember last time we seen a women's triple threat match. Give them triple threat matches. So therefore you're giving women repetition. You're giving them opportunity to go out there and just to perfect their craft. And if the better they get, then they'll be more believable at you seeing them in a legitimate match. Because right now you see them in a match, you're like, okay, like you said, they're gonna, some women just gonna be flopping around, mistiming things, and you're just gonna be like, oh, this looks too fake. I'm not watching this. And you're gonna lose interest.
Yeah. No. So I agree. I totally agree, because I'm not opposed to women's to women. No, but I agree. If it was Ronda Rousey and Becky, because Becky was so hot that year, I agree. Like, I totally agree. If it was just Becky and right. So if it was Becky and Charlotte. Becky and Ronda. I'm like, all right, cool. Even though I felt like it should have been Kofi and Daniel, but it makes sense but it would have made sense. I wouldn't have had a problem. I wouldn't even mention it. But because it was just that triple threat match, it was just like, if you were going to do this, then you should have did that. But I guess they thought they can make. I guess they were trying. It was like, they were trying to make it bigger. They was like, all right, we got Becky who's hot, and we got Ronda who's hot, and we got Charlotte who's hot. Let's just add Charlotte to it to make it a bigger match.
Yeah, that was
somebody thought that was a great idea, and they'll fight for both women's titles. And it was like, well, just have. Like, you could have just had Becky beat Asuka for the belt, and then had Becky still continue her fight against Ronda, and then they can fight one-on-one, and then have Becky walk away with both titles. Even better. That would have been crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I totally agree. But I agree that having the more experienced women, like a Bianca Belair, like a Asuka, like a Becky, you know what I'm saying, in a main event at a pay-per-view would be great. You know what I'm saying? It would be good. And then building other competitors like a Io Shirai or those who are NXT who are just as good to, go in the ring and give you a good match without flopping around and missing cues and wrestling like, looking like models who just learned how to run the ropes. Go and main event a pay-per-view will make good for a pay-per-view, because you're going to get a good match, at the end. So I'm not opposed to it. But I just think that they should not do it as often as they try to do it sometimes. Like,
okay, I have a question.
Okay.
All right. So you have the 3 title matches in Hell in a Cell this next Sunday.
Okay.
You have Randy and Drew.
Okay.
You have Roman and Jay.
Okay.
You have Sasha and Bayley.
Okay.
Would you have Bayley and Sasha in the show?
In the show.
Would you have the main event Hell in a Cell?
To be honest with you, yes, I would have them in Hell in a Cell. As honest opinion, because as we both know, it's very evident. Yes, I want to see Randy beat Drew, but Randy and Drew feud is not as hot as Sasha and Bailey. Roman and Jey Uso feud is hot, but it's not as hot as Sasha and Bailey because it's months. This is like months. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Roman and Jay's feud is hot. But watching Sasha capture that belt and taking it from Bailey is more interesting at this point. We know that Roman is not going to lose that belt to Jay. We know possibly that Drew McIntyre may not lose that belt to Randy Orton. We're hoping, and we believe that that's the best decision that the WWE can make right now is to have Drew McIntyre drop that belt to Randy. But win or lose, the match that we want to see, whether Sasha loses the match or whether Sasha wins the match, is Becky and Sasha Bailey and Sasha because it's hot because it's win or lose. Win or lose, you don't care. You just want to see how the storyline, plays out. So yeah, I totally agree. But this is one of those moments though.
Right? Yeah, based on storyline.
And yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. Now, when it comes to like Survivor Series, you know what I'm saying? And Survivor Series, they're gonna probably have the 7-on-7, 5-on-5 match or whatever.
Yeah, but all the champions go against each other. So now if they do it like they did last year, where they incorporate NXT. Wow, you will be looking at Roman versus Drew versus Finn. Triple threat match.
Yeah, they should do that.
And then you'll be looking at Io Shirai versus Asuka versus either Sasha or Bailey. You'll be looking at Damian Priest versus Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley. Okay, that man. Bobby Lashley. And then you'll be looking at the Street Profits versus New Day versus either Breezango or the Undisputed Era.
Wow.
And then outside of that,
yeah.
And outside of that, you would have your your 5-on-5, elimination matches with the men's and women's, and
that was actually I think that was probably one of the best ideas they've done for a SummerSlam match. That was dope. Was dope. And in that match, in the NXT match, Shayna Baszler won.
Yeah, she beat Bailey and Becky Lynch. Yes.
Yeah, and Becky Lynch, and she won, and that was dope.
And I believe wasn't that the main event for some Survivor Series?
I don't remember.
I believe it was.
So who was the heavyweight champions at the time?
That year it was
probably Brock Lesnar.
I'm sure it was Brock Lesnar. Let me try to go back. Let's see.
And did he fight in a triple threat match?
Yeah. Wait. No, he didn't, because Adam Cole was the champion at the time, and Adam Cole ended up fighting.
He fought Seth, right?
No, he fought Pete Dunne. Let's
Dunne. Okay.
Yeah, let's see.
Pete Dunne was the UK champion.
No, at that time Pete Dunne had lost the UK championship.
Oh, okay. No. Oh, so it wasn't a. Oh, okay.
Let's see. Survivor Series 2019. Okay, so the match card we had was Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles.
Okay. You said 2019?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend. The men's elimination match. Rey Mysterio versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE title. You had a triple threat match with the women.
Oh yeah, whatchamacallit got murdered.
Yeah, that's when they debuted Dominic, and he ended up trying to help his daddy, but yeah, he went to Suplex City.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then they had the women's triple threat match. I mean the women's elimination. I mean the women's triple threat elimination match, Survivor Series match.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so they only had that. Okay, so you know what they should do? Okay, so they had the champions triple threat match: Roderick Strong, NXT North American, AJ Styles, United States, and Nakamura, Intercontinental Champion. Okay. Right. Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend. Okay. Yeah. I remember that. Rey Mysterio getting murdered. Yeah, so they yeah. Oh, again, I'm like Rey Mysterio versus Brock Lesnar, and that was so funny because with his reign, they just kept putting him up against small guys. Everybody was Finn, Daniel, freaking AJ, Rey Mysterio. I'm like, really, Rey Mysterio versus Brock Lesnar, Braun, eventually, Roman, him and Roman fighting 1,000 matches together. All right, let's call it a night. So this is very interesting, but that was definitely an interesting topic. I think we need to bring up some more hot topics like that. Some more topics. But yeah, I think what they should do for Survivor Series is they should definitely do that. They should definitely do that with all the championships. Have all champions from every brand fight each other in a triple threat match. That would be dope.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. But I forgot, Ray, Brock was already in that feud with Ray and all that. So
yeah. All right, guys, we thank you for joining us for another edition of Wrestling Talks. Please join us again as we come back to you for another edition of Wrestling Talks, Talks and Thoughts next week. We will post up in the group what time we will be going on live. So we want you guys to join us. If you guys are catching the replay, please drop a comment in the comment section below. If you're watching this on YouTube, drop a comment in the comment section below. We want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you guys think about these rumors, what's been going on in WWE so far. We want to know what you guys think about women headlining main events. We also want to know what you guys think about the New Day's breakup. How do you feel about Big E's push and John Cena and his ridiculousness in Hollywood? So thank you guys for joining us. I'm your host, Saheem the Dream.
And the perfect 10, J McMahon.
And we will see you guys later. Peace.